Welcome to Shield Check, a DC20 series covering class and subclass breakdowns in under 10 minutes. On today's episode of Shield Check, we'll be discussing the Psion and Psion subclasses. Psions have achieved a mental state of being where they can turn their own thoughts into reality and reach out to the mind of others. Their combat training gives them access to light armor. Also, spells from any of the psychic, gravity, divination, enchantment, illusion, or protection spell lists. This is the character progression chart for the Psion from levels 1 through 10. First level class features give access to Psionic Mind. You learn the Psybolt cantrip, and you can spend stamina point and action points on enhancements. When making a physical save, you can spend one stamina point to make a mental save instead. Also, Psionic Spell. You can use the following spell enhancements for any spell. Daze. For one action point, you can add a mental save. Should they fail, the target becomes dazed on the next mental check it makes before the end of your next turn. Disruption. One action point. Mental save. On a fail, the target loses their concentration. Psionic. One mana point. The spell doesn't require verbal or somatic components. Also, Telekinesis. You gain the ability to interact with things only using your mind. Your telekinesis has a range of 5 spaces. You can interact with one object at a time, and the effect ends on the target when it's beyond range. You can perform any action that could normally be performed by using a hand. When using telekinesis, your size is considered medium, and you make a spell check instead of a normal check for the action. For an object, you can pick up and hold an unheld or unsecured object up to 100 pounds. Once on each of your turns, you can freely move an object to another space within range. You can shove another creature in any direction of your choice. If shoved vertically, the distance is halved. For grapple, you can move normally while maintaining the grapple, but the target doesn't move with you unless you choose to drag it. For grapple maneuvers, you may perform any grapple maneuver, even if you don't know it. The following maneuvers are changed slightly. Body block maneuver. You, or the attacker, must be within one space of the target. For the throw maneuver, use your prime modifier instead of might for distance thrown. The creature is thrown from its space instead of yours. Also, you get access to the flavor feature Telepathy. You can communicate telepathically with any creature you can see within 10 spaces. If it understands at least one language, it can respond. Level 2 class features give access to Mind Sense. For one action point and one mana point, you can detect the presence of other creatures within 10 spaces. For 1 minute, you know the location of any creature with an intelligence of 3 or higher within range, and psychic damage you deal to them increases by 1. A creature detected in this way is seen by you. This ends early if you fall unconscious or die. Also, Invade Mind. For one action point and one stamina point, you can subject a detected creature for the duration or until it leaves the range. This allows you to read emotions, making a spell check contested by the target's charisma save. On a success, you know their emotional state and have advantage on charisma checks against them. Also, read thoughts. You make a spell check contested by the target's intelligence save. On a success, you know the surface thoughts they're thinking at the moment, and the target has disadvantage on attacks made against you. You also gain access to 1 talent point. And at 3rd level, you unlock access to the Psion subclasses, the first of which is the Oracle. Choosing the Oracle subclass gives you access to Foresight. You gain an Omen, which is a 10. When a creature you can detect with Mind Sense makes a check or save, you can spend 1 action point and 1 stamina point as a reaction to replace the number it rolled on its D20 with your Omen before anything is added to the roll. The number rolled on the D20 becomes your new Omen. When Mind Sense ends, your Omen resets to a 10. You also get access to the flavor feature Third Eye. You have advantage on checks to identify and determine the meanings of omens and prophecies. Or you could choose the Psi Knight subclass. Choosing the Psi-Knight subclass gives you access to Psionic Combatant. This gives you combat training with all weapons, armor, and shields. You also learn all of the attack maneuvers and one maneuver of your choice. Psycho Metabolism. Spend 1 stamina point to gain +5 speed and +5 jump distance until the start of your next turn. Psionic Strikes. You can use the Daze and Disruption spell enhancements from Psionic Mind on martial attacks. And Psionic Barrier. When you use Mind Sense, you create a psionic barrier for the duration that grants you 2 temporary health points immediately and again at the start of each of your turns. You also gain access to the flavor feature Mind Over Matter. You can use your charisma or intelligence, your choice, instead of the normal attribute to determine your jump distance and the weight that you can push, drag, lift, or carry. If neither of those fit your style, then you can choose the Paragon Psion subclass. When you choose the Paragon Psion subclass, you get access to a class talent that can be used in various ways, one of which being Greater Telekinesis. This requires telekinesis in level 3. Your telekinesis becomes more powerful. It increases up to 10 spaces. Your size is considered large for the purposes of telekinesis, and the amount of weight increases to 200 pounds. You can now interact with 2 objects or creatures using telekinesis at a time. Once on each of your turns, you can freely move each object held to any space within range, choosing where the object moves. Or you can choose Psionic Fortress, requiring Mind Sense in level 3. This gives you the following benefits for the duration of your Mind Sense. Your thoughts can't be read against your will. You gain psychic resistance and advantage on intelligence saves. And when a creature you detect makes a mental check or save, you can spend 1 action point to grant the target advantage on its check or save. You can wait until after the creature rolls the d20 before deciding to use this feature. And as always, you get access to the flavor feature Jack of 1 Trade, gaining 1 trade point. And that wraps it up for the Psion and Psion subclasses. We'll catch you next time on Shield Check, and until then, keep that shield wall strong.